Hey guys, this is Grace and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to do a layout plus card share, basically project shares. And so if you have been watching me, you know that I like to participate in the online crops that Scrapbook Generation shares, or the events that they put together through their Facebook group. And so in the beginning of February, they had an online crop for the Super Bowl. And so what I love about the crops that they have is that they have games for that weekend, but then the actual like creating the challenges, you have till the end of the month to do it. So I'm not like trying to rush creating the projects so that I can turn it in before the end of the crop, which is that weekend. And so I didn't really do much for this particular crop because I just don't have the time, but I did want to share the items that I was able to create, maybe to give you some ideas, and also if you maybe joined in on the crop to see how I used up or how I took in the challenges or the prompts that they had. Okay, so let's start with the cards. So one of the challenges was to create 2 cards with a grid on the background. And so I love these kinds of challenges because I'm able to use up my scraps. So really, all of these items were created using just scraps of paper, or my scraps in my stash. So I did a very identical card, and I just used blocks of card. I did, in my initial design or my initial idea, I had thought of using this wider block or rectangle block as the place to put my sentiment, but I didn't know what I was going to use. And then I found that I was going through my stickers, and I found the sticker, like a panda birthday themed one, and so the pandas were really cute, and so I added that. I still had my sentiments, but it was just in a smaller form so that I could make that panda stick out. And so I added some enamel dots to finish it off. And then the same thing is just kind of in a different, like I flipped the design 180 degrees, and so I had the banner or the longer piece on the top, and I did the same thing. I used stickers and enamel dots for that. Now this card set, I was going to turn this in for the any card challenge, but I didn't read the fine print that you had to have 3 cards. You know, that's me, don't read the fine print. And so I only made 2, so I didn't turn it in, but I love that I was able to make a card. This sketch, I got the sketch from Pinterest. I like to, like when I see a card design that I've never, I haven't thought about, or it's just a design that I would never think of creating or making myself, I would pin that so that I would try it, just because it's something that I know it will never come out of my head, if that makes any sense. So I use scraps, and then these are stickers, and then this one's a die cut, and then I just added that there. So those are my cards. And then for my layout, let's move this. For my first layout, this one was based off of their sketch. They do a double page and a single page, and this one was based off of the double page layout. And it actually had 3 4x6 photos and then 3 smaller photos here, but because I print my photos in 3x4, I was able to put 6 and actually make that 8 because of the 2 layouts or 2 photos that's over here. Again, these are all from my stash. The only thing that's not from my stash is, of course, the green cardstock that I'm using as a background. And then these flowers, because the sketch had flowers on the sketch, and so I actually hand cut these from pattern paper, and then I just use that as kind of my visual triangle. These ones are enamel shapes that came with this title, so I just put that together. And then of course my journaling, and then I did some pen stitching because the sketch had some pen stitching. So that's what I did. I also matted my photos. This photo block right here was matted with some red pattern paper as well. So I love challenges like this because honestly, I would never do a layout like this just because I feel like there's too many contradicting or there's too many designs that my eye just gets a little bit confused. But I found that if you match it with some kind of slightly subtle photos and also matte the photos, that it will all work out. That's what I think anyways. So that is my 2-page spread. And then this one was based off of the single page sketch. And I love the single page Scrapbook Generation is known for this, where I've noticed it in a lot of their sketches, is they do a lot of strips, whether that's vertical or horizontal. They do a lot of strips in the background, and that actually lends itself really well for scraps. So again, all of the pattern papers on the back were cut into strips, and I cut the top and the bottom into notches. I did ink up the edges of them, and they're all scraps. And then these are photos of my youngest. And the photos already came with a mat, so that was kind of nice that I didn't have to add that. And again, all of this were just scraps. Now these ones I used what is it called? It's a leaf die from, I think it's from Sizzix, I can't remember. But I just used a bunch of scrap cardstocks and made my own leaves, and that's what I use for a visual triangle. Now this border right here is a washi, and I just finished my washi. Well, if you're watching this in the middle of March, you know that I just finished my washi mini series, and so that's why I still had washi in my mind, and I used that as a border for this particular layout. And then the last layout that I have is, the prompt was to create a layout with 20 something, whether that's 20 things you learned from your mom, 20 things that you like right now, whatever it is, 20 something. And initially I was going to do that 20 something, that 20 things that I learned from my mom. However, I couldn't think of 20. Not that my mom is not the greatest, but for some reason I just couldn't think of, like, I couldn't think of things that she had taught me and put them into just bullet points, if that makes any sense. It was just hard for me. And so because I was already in the train of thought of learning from my mother, I thought that I would try to see if I can make a list of 20 things that I learned from being a mom. And that was kind of, well, not easy, but easier than creating that list of things I learned from my mom. And this was easier to create in bullet points. And so I just sat there and write 20 things that I could think of, and then I started with the journaling, and then I pulled out the photos. And I have to say, excuse me, I've been talking a lot lately. I have to say, it's been a while since I've done what I consider a meaningful layout. Not that the travel and the everyday and the events are not meaningful, but sometimes you just have to sit there and jot down some things that are really focused on the journaling. And I haven't done that in a while. And so creating this was really special for me because I was able to jot down 20 things that I learned from being a mom. And it just so happens that I had extra pictures from our 2018 fall family photos that had all of my kids on there. So it was perfect. And again, I used some scraps. The only items that are not scraps are the cardstock and also this background, this yellow background, because I was needing some yellow to pull out the yellow for my daughter's shirt. But everything else, these papers over here, the backgrounds, the stickers, these ones were hand cut from pattern papers. They are all from scraps. So those are my layouts and my projects from the latest Scrapbook Generations crop that I participated in. If you are interested in this crop, make sure that you check out the link below because I will post the link to their Facebook group. Now, if you're not a Facebook member, of course that you won't see it, so I apologize for that because that is the only way that I know anyways that they would announce if they have crops, is if you are part of that Facebook group. So again, if you're interested in that challenge or in that group and the crops that they have, make sure that you check out the description box below. If you have any questions, make sure that you put that in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer it as fast as I can. If you like these videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing, and I will catch you guys in another video. Bye!